President Bola Tinubu has told Nigerians to learn how to manage their resources and cut unnecessary spendings. Tinubu mentioned this in his media chat on Monday evening, urging his fellow countrymen to adopt better energy management practices to cope with rising electricity bills. He said, "It's not negative to learn to manage. You learn to control your electricity bill. Switch off the lights. Let's learn to manage." His policies have forced Nigerians to continue paying for increased electricity tariffs. Petrol prices have skyrocketed from less than 200 per litre to over 1,100 in parts of the country, while the naira depreciated significantly, plummeting from around 700 naira to as low as 1,600 700 to 1,600. The Electricity Regulatory Commission in April had also raised tariffs for customers under the Band A classification, increasing rates from 66 naira per kilowatt per hour to 225 naira. The hike, coupled with economic hardships, has drawn widespread criticism from Nigerians already grappling with inflation and reduced purchasing power. Comrade Oscar, we just talked about the borrowing aspect of the president saying that borrowing is not criminal, and here he's advising us to manage electricity bills and switch off our lights in order for us not to consume lots of energy, not lots of power. Is this supposed to be the right statement? We have that lot of electricity tariff. The electricity tariff, not lot, has been increased in the country. And some people barely have power supply. Some even don't even have food to eat first off. No talk of having electricity. So it just cuts around every aspect. But coming from a president ruling Nigeria, is this supposed to be the best advice to give? Or should something would have actually done by talking to the TCN or something, or the electricity power, for something to be done about the high tariff plan instead of the statement that the president made?
Well, I think the statement of Mr. President has defined the kind of president we have. So without being told, or without us paying too much attention on his statement, it's automatically that we now have to define by ourselves the kind of president that we have in this part of the world. But why I keep wondering, the reason why Bola Tinubu have refused to change his ideology in terms of governance is worrisome, because I felt by now his visit to other parts of the world would have actually educated him. But unfortunately, he just go there for health challenges and go there to think of how to loot Nigeria resources. If not, you go to USA, you have steady power supply. Recently, you have traveled to France and traveled to other parts of the world, and you saw how they have steady power supply, and you also saw the tax that they are paying, the kind of tax they pay, how they are able to meet up our citizens are able to meet up their gas, how they're able to meet up even water, even how they're able to meet up electricity, how they're able to meet up food, how they're able to meet up a good road infrastructure, how they are able to meet up even educational aspect of it, how your own children is no longer schooling in Nigeria and they schooled in other part of the Western world. How all the rich men children have decided that they will not school in Nigeria. How the rich men children have choose a better life outside Nigeria. How Nigeria is becoming a very serious hellfire for Nigerians. And then you, the president, instead of creating an understanding situation, what you are doing at this point in time is to create more hardship. The statement of Mr. President is also not far from the statement of the minister that said that Nigeria should learn to off their fridge. This is the kind of leaders we have in this part of the world. You see, when a minister will preside over a particular meeting with the PhD, and the next thing he was going to tell them was that Nigerians should learn how to off their fridge. So this time is Mr. President now asking us to off some of our points. So I wonder if the kind of point Mr. President wants us to off, if it is a security light we are going to put off, or if it's a room light that we actually have a that is necessary for us to use, or is the security light that we're supposed to live on in the night. So which Mr. President would have been able to tell us which of the point of light we should off, because if he's not able to tell us off point A or off point B, then that means he has also lost track, because I can't remember the last time Mr. President put off electricity in his own home.
Well, quickly, let me hold you on that.
No, it's obvious that as we speak right now, you know, Mr. President, since he emerged as the president of this Federal Republic of Nigeria, he has not touched his personal money. He's feeding, Nigeria are the one feeding Mr. President. We are using Nigeria resources to take care of our president. Unfortunately, that is the case we face right now. So he's not aware about the pump price that we face right now. He's not aware about how much food costs in the market. I'm sure if you ask Mr. President right now to tell you the cost price of salt, even the Dangote salt that is related to him or close to him, he can't be able to tell you this is how much Dangote sells his own cost. Now, he can also be able to tell you how much his pump price. Even the group managing director of NNPC, Melekiari, can also tell us how much his pump price, if not because he is the one creating or setting up this pump price. He wouldn't have known the price because he cannot remember the last time he used his personal resources to buy 1 liter of fuel.
Okay,
so it becomes a challenge in this part of the world. And I think Mr. President should think or prepared for a bigger protest in 2025, because there will be a very big protest, a massive protest that I'm sure Mr. President won't be able to face. He's cooking, and for him, he thinks nothing is happening.
Thank you.
But a lot is cooking.
Comrade Oscar, let me hold you on that. Mr. Mufasa, I want to ask you, as a president, just like Comrade Oscar mentioned, the president that's supposed to govern and watch cater for the responsibility of its citizens, is it supposed to be a right approach to people that have been complaining of hunger and starvation, increased electricity tariffs, increased rents? Because as it stands, some landowners have actually increased house prices right here, and some people barely feed. We just talked about the stampede things, the issue that led to the stampede, and this was the first presidential chat that the president had on Monday. The statements that have been made about borrowing not a criminal act and advising us to manage electricity, do you think these are supposed to be the right statements that the president should have given? Were there better things you suggest the president should have said than these things?
No, well, personally, I really do not, give too much credence to plenty talk. You understand? I've said it before that our elected office holders, they know how to talk. You know, if it's to talk, they can talk. But doing the actual work, that's where the problem lies. You know, you're advising people to switch off their lights. Now, the question is, do we even see the lights? You know, is it the one that I use my generator to power? Well, that's the truth. There are places in this country today that they've not seen light for like more than 3 years. I've been to a community in Edo State where a child that is 6 years old have not seen electricity before in his entire life. We're talking about 21st century modern day Nigeria. So if the light was constant and regular, and you are telling Nigerians to switch off their lights when they're not in use, of course, people don't put on lights during the daytime. So for me, I just believe that the president is just trying to play to the gallery. You know, Nigerians, we are yet to even conform, understand why we should be having band disparity in terms of power supply, where you have band A, band B, and band C. You know, and now the president is telling us to it is just scratching the surface. Nigerians don't have lights. We don't have power in this country.
So the main issue here, she should have actually thought on said things, ways on how to improve the power in this country.
I'm sure in Aso Rock where he lives, or in his private residence in Bodleian, you know, power doesn't go off because he's a big man. You know, so Nigerians, the ordinary man that lives in the shanty somewhere in Job or in Lukbe or in Ajegunle, the person doesn't see light, and you're advising us to manage electricity. We don't have it. So President Bola Tinubu, I'm sure he's not even in tune with the realities on the ground, because if he's in tune with the realities on the ground, he will understand that Nigerians are passing through the most difficult time in the history of this country. And you give us excuses that you are engaging in reforms and all of that, but we are yet to see any significant improvement in the lives, the economy of this country. You just mentioned how people were buying petrol at less than 300 naira per liter before he became president. And even at that, Nigerians were complaining. The exchange rate dollar to the naira was below 700 naira. It was between 650, 700 and thereabout. Now it's almost 1,600 naira. So where are we heading to? So the chat for me was completely empty because, you know, what he said was more or less what, you know, they've been telling us. It's nothing new to me.
So in essence, the president doesn't care about the well-being. In essence,
the president is not sensitive to the plight of Nigerians. And that is what we want to see a leader show capacity in addressing. Currently, we don't even know where we are heading to. Like more or less in an autopilot situation. And what you will tell Nigerians is is the president managing? Are you not aware that even in the face of all these economic woes, in the face of what we are passing through, the president just went to acquire a private jet in the tune of billions of naira? Are you aware that the president and the presidency, they are building houses for the aristocrat, for the vice president and some of their friends and cronies? So if you place that side by side with what he has said about management, how do you reconcile that? This president told us in the media that he's not going to reduce the size of his cabinet. Even when Nigerians are saying that the cost of governance is high, the country is currently bleeding from all angles, and you are telling us that you are not going to cut down your cabinet size, you are not going to drop anything. At the same time, you are telling us to manage. When you as a leader, you are not managing. My sister, my brother, we expect leaders to lead, and they should lead by example.
Thank you so much on that, Mufasa.